Good afternoon, LinkedIn. Jeremy Blubaugh, Chief Prospecting Officer here at CoinFlip Marketing, where it's our goal to help you flip the odds in your favor, when it comes to your client outreach. Today, I have Andrew Booz on the phone with me, or LinkedIn Live here. Nice to have you. He's the co-owner and CEO of Potion, a video company that actually helps you personalize videos at scale. That's right. I said personalized videos at scale. How about that? That's his company. He's doing it. Before we get going, an interesting fact about Andrew. He's actually the world's best / mediocre golfer, squasher player, and surfer on the West Coast. So Andrew, glad to have you.
Hey, thanks, man. It's really great to be be I am the most mediocre of all of those things. And I'm also the absolute most humble in the world. Just so you guys know.
It's funny. I golf too, and we'll get going in a second. It's that one hole that always brings you back, right? It's you never think about the 18 you shot in the woods. It's oh man, I put it within 5 feet of the hole. Like
yeah,
so.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, yeah. So all right, we'll get going. So I know your background. Obviously, you might want to share here with LinkedIn what your background is, but more importantly, why you started Potion, why you wanted to create a company that can actually personalize videos at scale. So the floor is yours with that.
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me here. It's great to be here and do this with you. I suppose so. My background's sort of relevant. I can talk a little bit about it. Essentially, I've been working with early stage companies and helping them launch for my whole career. And a big part of that is, since I'm not technical, a big part of that is prospecting. So basically for the last 10 years, I've been either setting up teams or I've been a part of the team that goes out and makes a bunch of phone calls and does a bunch of emails and goes on LinkedIn and finds prospects and customers for a new business. And the most recent business that I started is called Darwinian Ventures, which is a sales agency. And we would set up, teams for launching a new business. So we would put in some business development reps. We'd have a sales ops person that would put all the tools together. And then we would just, do the work. We'd do the doing. So we'd do all the, phone calls and the emails and the LinkedIn. And we would sort of research who the potential customer could be. And then we would go and validate that. And video, kind of busted onto the scene right when the pandemic was hitting. So desk phones obviously weren't working anymore. No one would answer their phones. It was brutal. And we were this little agency. We were, I don't know, at the time we were 15 people. I think we're close to 30 now, but we were fragile. I thought we were going to go out of business. And all of a sudden we started using Loom videos to break through the ice. And, boom, like all of a sudden everything changed. These Loom videos, if you send a personalized introduction video, introducing yourself and your product, we got 4 times the reply rate as if you didn't. So 4 times makes a huge difference, obviously. And the one thing that kept us from getting too excited was that it was miserable to do. We would spend 3 hours a day, and the team wanted to quit, right? Like they were furious. They had to spend 3 hours a day, saying almost the identical message again and again and again. And if you screwed up one word, you had to start all over again. And it was so miserable. And, even though we got 4 times the reply rate, the volume was so low, it didn't make that much of a difference. So that was my first inkling that, hey, this is something that's got to be fixed. So a few months later, I met Kanad, who's my co-founder at Potion and just a really brilliant engineer. And he was starting to tinker with this solution. So he said, hey, these deep fake videos that you see gimmicky sort of spoofs on the internet, like you see, Barack Obama saying some goofy stuff, or you see, Tom Cruise saying some goofy stuff. That's actually unbelievably powerful technology. And you can leverage that to personalize and sort of mass edit spoken word in a video without having to reshoot it. So that's how it started. At that point in time, I stepped out of the agency. I found somebody else to run it. It's still kicking ass and growing, but my day-to-day now is Potion. So we went and formed the company and raised some money and put some really smart engineers in a room and said, hey, in a Zoom, put some really smart engineers in a Zoom and said, hey, let's go and solve this problem. So that's how Potion got started. So it's using these deepfake type technology to change the name, change the greeting in a sales video. And you can only do it to yourself, right? So you can't you can't punk anyone. You can't go and like put words in other people's mouth. But we let you change the greeting so that you could. So I could go and greet 10,000 people tomorrow without having to go and shoot 10,000 videos, which is obviously impossible. So that's how it got started, and that's what Potion is.
So I'm going to circle back to what you said. 4 times response rate for your current clients using Potion. Are they seeing that type of response rate or even better? I mean, because that's huge. I mean, anytime you can improve by 25% on cold outreach is great. I mean, you're going 400% higher. That's amazing.
It's really remarkable, yeah. And that doesn't mean that you're going to close all those deals, and it doesn't mean that they're all positive replies, obviously. But even just getting replies, any good business development person is going to follow up on the no's and try to turn them into yeses. So yeah, we're seeing a pretty consistent uplift of between 3 and 5x in replies using personalized video, even with Potion. Also, when we were doing it manually. Obviously, with Potion, you can send 100 a day. When you did it manually, you could send like a dozen. so you should use Potion, I guess, is the conclusion. But yeah,
your shameless plug here today, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I've used your tool. I love it. I think it's game changing. I love the technology behind it. That's why I wanted to have you on today and walk the crowd through here today. So if I do Andrew once and I have 10 Andrews on my list, right, I'm good to go for all of them, correct?
That's right. Yeah. So you do a little bit of training with the names.
Yep.
But once it's all set up with any greeting, you're good there forever.
And that's for any type of video, right? Or is it just for that one video you shot?
It's for any of the videos on your tool. Yeah. So usually, for the first few weeks, you do a little bit of training every day for the names. And it takes 10, 12 minutes or so per day when you're starting. But after a couple of weeks, you don't have to do any training at all. You just punch in some names and boom, you'll get, like, I do 100 videos a day. So you get 100 personalized, customized videos per day.
Mm-hmm. And from what I'm sounding like, I mean, I'm sure you're running across John's and Susie's and Katie's, like those are there, and you don't have to say, "Hey, John, you're good to go."
That's right. Yeah, they're in there, and you're set.
Have you found, so obviously email, have you found doing any other type of avenues like using videos in LinkedIn or anything like that nature's increase the ratios?
Yeah, well, our tool will work in LinkedIn really nicely, and it'll work we had one group even try with SMSs. They had SMS as part of their routine. Email is by far the biggest. We don't really, I wouldn't say it's more or less effective in different mediums, but people have certainly started to try it elsewhere.
So tell me a little more about the SMS, because I didn't know you did that. So,
well, at the end of the day, it just makes a link, right? So
yeah,
Potion will create a link for the video that you want to see or that you want to share, and you can do anything you want with that. You could, type it out and print it and tie it to a carrier pigeon's leg, and someone needs to type it back in. But that's all it does. It makes a link. So you can put the link in an SMS. You can put it in a LinkedIn message. You could put it in a Facebook Messenger bot or an Instagram bot. You could put it in, whatever you need to. But it spits out a link that you can click on anywhere.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you how I used it, because I don't think I've told you. It's getting good results. Is QR.
Let's hear it.
So QR codes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm up in my daughter's room today. We're getting some work done down by my office, so I don't have anything in front of me. So sorry about that, but I'll send you this follow up. But so I have, I've told you how I do my personalized cards. So I've been using your service. And hey, if you like the card, scan here, and it's a personalized video of me saying, hey,
cool.
glad you like the card. And what I love about it for the audience listening to why I love your tool is you can link to your calendar. Calendly, I can't remember if you link with other tools or not, but I use Calendly, so it links to that. You can put your logo on the video, but it's great. It pulls up, and right there on your phone, it's a video of me waving to them with my logo and my calendar if they want to book a meeting. So it's just kind of that one added step of personalization that I like to add that is completely different than the typical outreach that anybody's getting out there in the market today. So there's another idea for you.
That's awesome, man. Okay, I love hearing about that. That's
great. And you can just go to I think it's just qrcodecreator.com or generator.com. They're free. You can pay for a service to make them a little bit nicer, but what I found is that doesn't really do it. And with QR code, the free one, you can throw your logo right in the middle of the QR code so they can see
Nice.
it, change the color. It's pretty basic, but it gets the job done. So yeah, I mean,
That's awesome, man. That's cool. Yeah, I'd love to see an example.
So are you saying that like on a Facebook bot or whatever, like you can just load it and if they click on it, it's like an image, or is it just a link?
Well, that depends on the platform. I haven't tried it on Facebook yet. We can try it now, but I know on LinkedIn, if you send it as a direct message, it pre-populates the preview image, which is really
that's what I thought. Yeah,
makes a huge difference, right? Because most people are just sending text on LinkedIn, but with us, you can send a little waving GIF. And you get a lot more traction.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to, because I think when people hear link, they're like, I don't know if I want to click on a link, but if it's a video of me waving to see that it's humanized, they're probably way more likely to click on a video than they are a link, because people, when a random person sends me a link in my email, I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm clicking that one.
Right.
If it's a link of you waving, I'm clicking on it all day long. So
right. Yeah, and LinkedIn's a little more real, because usually it's a real person and their real reputation is there, and you can kind of see that. There's a lot fewer bots and stuff like that on LinkedIn.
Although they're picking up, though, I tell you what.
They're picking up, yeah. But even those, they're bots, but with a real person behind the bot. So like everyone's profile is attached to their activity, and it's usually a real person. There are some fake accounts on LinkedIn, but I don't see them that often.
No.
They're pretty good about that.
And I'm going to throw this out to the audience right now. I mean, I think both you and I are fairly active on LinkedIn. I can't speak for you.
Yeah.
But I can count on this hand right here how many times I've got a personalized video on LinkedIn. It's been 3 times.
Okay.
So if you truly want to stand out from the competition, you know, Andrew's giving you a solution here to not only do video, but personalize it. So it's not just, hey, it can be, hey, Andrew. It's personalized. And to your point, 3 to 5, even 600% better response ratios is going to be big for any type of outreach and any type of business or any type of sales role. So
yeah, it's huge. And then the other interesting thing is that we've noticed, so obviously the first touch is really helpful to use video, because you're breaking through the ice. There's a little bit of social tension there. You know, you're a stranger.
Yep.
So having a video and a smiling face and your voice and everything helps. But then the other interesting thing that we found is that at the very bottom of the funnel, right? So deals that are about to close but haven't closed yet. You know, every salesperson lives in dread of those, like the deals that go cold, right? So you know, we'll have deals that seem like they're about to close and then they go stale. That's actually a really great spot to send a video to. And again, I think it comes down to the fact that, again, there's that social tension, right? Like somebody's ghosting you, like something's wrong. They don't want to talk about it. Maybe they're conflict averse, whatever, like who knows? And every salesperson sits there at night chewing their fingernails off because like they have a deal that's almost done, but you know, it goes kind of stale. Sending a video there, just saying like, hey, like, no worries if something's wrong, but I'd love to talk to you and see what's going on. And we seem so close and blah, blah, blah. It's way harder to ignore that. And you're way more likely to even get a no, or even get an apology, or even get something if you send a heartfelt video, if somebody's ghosting you who you were making progress with. So that's what we're finding. So video is great at the very top of the funnel, first touch. And then it's also really great at the bottom of the funnel, like when you're about to sort of take that leap and actually close a deal with somebody. It's really good for that.
Yeah, I agree with you. What about in the middle of the funnel? You recommend it any time in the process, or is it kind of just top and bottom?
I mean, middle of the funnel, you can use it, but usually in the middle of the funnel, at least in my experience, you're coordinating meetings and you're actually having meetings and you're redlining and it's more just block and tackle, like moving things forward. It's like, yeah, you can still use video there too. But usually you're on meetings. Like you have a Zoom meeting, which is a live video meeting, right? It's more the time period where you're it's like the leap of faith periods, right? Like a first touch is a leap of faith. Like you're throwing something to a stranger and the stranger's like, who the hell are you? And that's where video really helps. And then at the very end, you've done all the work and it's sort of a leap of faith. You're like, okay, we've done all this stuff. Are you going to close? You know? So those are the areas where that tension kind of can lead to some awkwardness, and video can help break through that awkwardness.
Yeah, and
the middle of the funnel is a little more just, you know, methodical.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's meet next Tuesday. Okay, great. Let's do a red line. Okay, here you go. You know.
Yeah, I agree. I was just curious if someone else was using it. And I'm thinking of that late stage funnel. I mean, it doesn't have to be your service, but send them. I got 4 kids, right? Having the 4 kids
Okay.
right here. Like, I thought this deal was going to close, man. Look, I got to
Yeah.
feed my 4 kids. Come on,
Yeah.
like,
Look at
let
them.
me
They're
know.
hungry. Yeah. Hey, that's a clever one.
Actually, I got that from with Jeff Gitomer. I don't know if you ever read his stuff.
No.
He wrote the Little Red Book of Selling. He's wrote thousands, I think like 100 books, man. The guy's all over about the sales. He's probably one of the best reputable salespeople in the world. And
Okay.
he did something like that with his kids. I think he even like told people like put kids on their voice message or something. Like, hey, this is Jeremy's son, Calhoun. Like,
Get out.
we really appreciate if you leave him a message. You know, it was, sorry, we're going off track here, but I just think it was funny.
That's hilarious. That's some like guerrilla warfare, like psychology.
Well, and I think too, it's different, right? I think, you know, we are distracted in so many, and that's why I tell people to use video. We're
Yeah.
distracted, and until you kind of activate that reticular activating system, like you don't. It's the whole yellow Hummer story, right? You know, you
No,
probably
what's
haven't
that?
seen a yellow Hummer on the streets for many years, but I bet you today and the next day, if you go outside, you're going to see a yellow Hummer. It's there. You just never notice it, right? It's
Hey,
not to
interesting. Yeah.
activate that reticular activating system. So it's like
Yeah.
that. The video disrupts that typical pattern because all of a sudden you got this person waving to you and like, whoa, hold on, I haven't got this before. It's when I got one of my clients to start using another video service before I learned about yours called BombBomb, you know,
Yeah.
about a year and a half ago. And I would bet you he's like a 10 times better hit ratio. And most of the time it's, hey, how'd you do that? Like, how are you
Right.
doing that? How are you sending me a video to my email and it's embedded in the body of the email? Like, how are you doing that? And
Yeah.
even if, to your point, even if it's not developing the business, you're breaking through that ice and, you know, it might lead to business down the road. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah. I'm a big believer in that.
yeah. So, you know, anything else that you would add that your company's looking to add, that you're trying to up the game with what you guys are doing?
Well, there's a whole bunch of just really interesting developments in the video space, and we'd like to just get really, really good at creating personalized and customized versions of videos without requiring people to reshoot them. So there's, we're right now we're really eager to start some clients that start with some customers that aren't just salespeople. So we built the tool for sales prospecting, so high volume sales outreach. But we're really excited to start to actually see some traction with marketing too. So that's a new thing. Obviously, the product itself doesn't need to be that different in the short term. It's just taking a video and mass personalizing it. But it's for marketing instead. So you could send a bunch of marketing videos that are personalized to individuals. Recruiting, I think, is also really cool because in recruiting, you could have the CEO of a giant company greet 200 applicants by name or 1,000 applicants by name for all sorts of different jobs, and send them a little video like, hey, Steve, we've got this role and you're perfect for it. Like, let's talk. Like you could
I
do all
like
sorts
that.
of really cool stuff like that. Yeah. And that's what the product just as it is now. Where we're going is building a product where you can actually change different parts of the video, not just the greeting. So you can
Oh
sub
yeah,
out
you did say that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
so you could put it like mail merge basically, or merging. You can merge a company name or region or industry or other things like that, and you can have those be mass personalized as well. So that's kind of it. And then in the long term, there's some really cool stuff that I should probably leave as a surprise. But it's just such a cool futuristic thing, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. And Kanad's been phenomenal at sort of putting it all together in a really cool way. The team's been great. So that's kind of where we're going. We are hiring, so we're looking for great salespeople. We're looking for customer success, probably in Q1. So we're starting to meet people now, and obviously engineers and machine learning folks and AI folks and stuff like that. We kind of just always have a need for that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of where we're going. It's all such early days, right? This whole like synthetic media thing is so early, but it's got so much room to grow, and it's going to be so cool. There's so many cool things in the pipeline.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing about the things you can't disclose yet.
Yeah. Well, it's nothing too crazy. It's just
I
like
know. Give you.
it's really out there. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a whole body of thought that says that 5-10 years from now, most of the media that you see will be AI generated.
Hmm.
Which is probably true. I don't really think that won't. I think it's almost impossible that won't happen. So, there's going to be some really, really powerful tools there that help you, generate video that is right for you without having to go and have all this camera and lighting and soundproof room and all this stuff. Like, people are now starting to realize, now that everyone's on Zoom all the time, having a quiet room is a really cumbersome. It's like burdensome. Like, having a quiet room with proper lighting, like, that's no longer just putting on a button-down shirt and tucking it into your nice like slacks. Like, now you need a giant part of your home to be like really kind of perfect, like a studio almost, in order to have a professional work environment for video. So there's just all these new things that we're only just now starting to realize that I think are going to push us more and more in the direction of like avatars, like this whole metaverse thing. Like, it's really interesting too.
I hear you. I mean, for a guy who does some videos on LinkedIn and Instagram, and I mean, I have 4 kids. It's impossible sometimes to get a room where they don't come barging in, or that you can hear someone yelling in the background. It's tough. So I hear you. It'd be great to have some of that stuff AI generated and like almost have me, and here's what I wanted to say, and throw me in, on the Golden Gate Bridge delivering a message. That'd be fantastic.
Every marketer's dream. Yeah, exactly.
Although the people who actually know me, like, you didn't shoot that video there because we know you hate crossing bridges, especially high bridges. So
you're busted.
Well, when I went to San Francisco probably 6 years ago, I'm like, I had never been before. I had to go see it, and I started walking across, and you can feel the bridge shaking. I'm like, I'm done. I started walking back. I'm like, I can't do it. I could probably drive across it, but walk across it, that was not for me. So,
well, it's really intense. I've walked it a few times, and it's beautiful, but it's first of all, it's a highway, so you're like 2 feet from like a screaming like bunch of cars, tight, like booming, and it's a very narrow highway too. So walking, it's actually really intense, and the wind's really strong, and you're really high off the water, and there's like trucks right next to you. It's like it's not leisurely by any means.
Yeah. So we got about 8 more minutes here before we wrap up. So when sending a video, how any recommended time, any recommended content that you say, or is there a certain format you recommend to people to kind of use when delivering a personalized video with Potion?
Yeah, that's a great question. And a lot of our time is spent with just pretty straightforward coaching on that type of thing. Exactly. So I always just go back to just general best practices as a business development person. So the biggest thing that I always tell people is all you're selling is a 30-minute discovery call. So people will get into these videos and they'll start talking, and they'll make a 2-minute video or a 5-minute video, and it'll just go into all these details, or they'll start demoing the product, or they'll start talking about specifics in the product. Don't do that, right? It's almost, think of it almost like leaving a voicemail, and leaving a voicemail is a bit of a skill too. Like, you all remember the first few times you left voicemails, they were kind of awkward, but when you get into it, it's just like a sort of comfortable thing that you do. All you're trying to do with a voicemail is get a callback.
Yep.
You're not trying to sell them on a 2-year contract at like whatever price for XYZ features, right? So I always come back to that, and usually that equates to about 40 seconds, maybe, or so. So it can be maybe a little longer than a voicemail, so 45, 50 seconds at most. I try to tell people to have a little bit of motion in it. So, like, obviously the thumbnail is going to be your first few seconds. So do a little wave, like, hey there, this is Andrew. I'd like to show you XYZ. And then there's some just basic things like camera placement and lighting and focus and all that. Those are usually the biggest things that we coach around. And then, how fast you're talking and
sure.
Like that. But yeah, that's the biggest one. It's like all you're selling is a 30-minute discovery call. So don't go into detail, give them enough to pique their interest, and then wrap it up. I do encourage people to use the script feature so that you're not breaking eye contact, and you're just sort of smoothly reading through whatever you want to say.
So is it kind of like almost like a teleprompter type deal?
Teleprompter, yeah. We have a teleprompter feature, so you can put your script up and then it reads out for you.
Yeah.
And then there's just some basic things. Like, if you have your calendar integrated, you're going to get like probably, I think it's around 40-50% more meetings. Like, it's small, but like it'll really boost your meeting count because people drop off less. They'll just click on a meeting and there it goes.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
everything else is just best practices with your emails. So your emails obviously need to make sense, and they need to be spaced properly and have the right content and all that stuff. But as far as the video goes, that's the biggest one. Keep it
so
to 30, 40 seconds. Yeah, go ahead.
let's talk a little bit about that. So do you recommend with the video, including some verbiage, or is it just you sending a video like, hey, please click on this video? What's your recommendation there for best response?
I still think a proper email is still sort of the thing that you're sending. It just also has a video. So
Okay.
you'd send the same type of email you normally would, but you'd say, hey, and I also included this quick video to introduce myself. You know, I hope we can chat, but you'd still write out an email saying, hey, so and so, we've created this thing, or like whatever your email copy would be. But then you tweak it to mention the video, and then you insert the video in there somewhere.
Gotcha. And then one last question, we'll wrap up here because I think this is important for anybody listening might think this. So you're sending a video. I mean, is it even going to get through? That's got to be a large attachment, right?
Huh. No, we don't send the actual video file. It's just a link in a GIF. So if you can send a link in a GIF, you can send a Potion video.
There you go. I was teeing you up for that one, but just if anybody not listening, or have never sent a video before, because the reason why I asked that, when I first got introduced to video, before I met you, Bomb, like a year and a half ago, I was like, hold on a second, like, how does this get through? Like, it's got to be a 30-second video. Like, I can't even send it from one Gmail to another Gmail. I have to put it like in Google Drive. Like, how am I going to send a video to Andrew? And that's when they introduced, oh no, it's a link. I'm like, oh,
right,
fantastic. So,
yeah, it's pretty straightforward for sendability.
Yeah. Well, we'll get going here. We'll wrap up here. So before we wrap up, Andrew, where can everybody listen in or kind of watching the replay find you at? What's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I'm at Andrew at sendpotion.com. So our website's at sendpotion.com, potion like magic potion.
Mm-hmm.
If you mention the podcast or the LinkedIn live video here, send me a note and we're going to give you half off a license. So if you guys want to give it a try, we also have a trial that you can check out as well. But yeah, I'd love to meet you. I can show you around the tool and see if it'll help you. And if you mention this, we'll give you half off your first contract. And you can find me on LinkedIn too. I'll be posting this on LinkedIn. It's Andrew Boos, Boos. And thanks so much for having me, Jeremy.
Yeah, you hear that, guys. Early Christmas present to you if you chime in here, half off. So, well, thanks for having us. Happy holidays to you there out on the West Coast. And once again, thanks for coming on, and we'll look forward to catching up soon.
Awesome.
How's it going, everyone?
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.